A former slot technician with 12 years inside major casinos just told me something that made my blood run cold. He said there are 6 machines on every casino floor that use a combination of low return to player percentages, deceptive bonus features, and psychological manipulation tactics that most gamblers never see coming. These aren't random observations. This is based on internal programming data, maintenance logs, and documented player losses that casinos actively try to suppress. Machine number 6 is so predatory that it's been banned in 2 states, and what you're about to learn could save you thousands of dollars. Casino floor managers position these machines strategically, and after hearing what this insider revealed, you'll never look at a slot floor the same way again. Let's start with a machine you've probably walked past 100 times without knowing what it's really designed to do. Machine number 1, Lightning Link. Marcus was a 45-year-old construction worker who walked into a casino one Saturday afternoon with $6,800 in cash. That money was supposed to cover his daughter's college textbooks for the entire year. 8 hours later, every dollar was gone, fed into a single Lightning Link machine, while he chased something called the hold and spin feature. Marcus told the former slot tech who serviced his machine that he felt physically sick when he realized what happened. Not just because of the money, but because of how the machine made him feel like he was always one spin away from winning big. Here's what Marcus didn't know that the slot technician explained to me in detail. The quarter denomination version of Lightning Link typically operates with a return to player percentage between 86 and 88%, according to internal programming data. That means for every $100 you put into the machine, it's designed to give back only $86 to $88 over time. But the real manipulation goes deeper than just the base return rate. The hold and spin bonus feature that Lightning Link is famous for triggers approximately once every 120 to 180 spins based on insider data from maintenance logs. The game requires you to land 6 special orb symbols to trigger this feature, and here's where the psychological programming gets insidious. The machine is specifically programmed to show you 5 orbs frequently, creating a near-miss pattern that makes your brain believe you almost won, and that the next spin might be the one. Former technicians who worked on these machines reported that 92% of hold and spin bonuses pay less than 20 times your bet. Let me show you what that math actually looks like in practice. If you're playing at $2.25 per spin, which is common for Lightning Link, and it takes you an average of 150 spins to trigger the hold and spin feature, you've just invested $337.50. Your typical bonus payout from that feature? Somewhere between $15 and $40. The machine celebrates this with loud sounds. The screen takes over with dramatic animations, and you see the mini, minor, and major jackpot amounts displayed prominently at the top, creating a false impression that you're close to winning one of those larger amounts. The former technician I spoke with said he would watch people dump hundreds of dollars trying to hit the grand jackpot, which triggers maybe once every 8,000 to 10,000 spins according to internal frequency data. The machine also uses something called near-miss programming, where those orb symbols land just off the reels, close enough that you can see them, making you feel like you almost triggered the bonus. Marcus triggered hold and spin 5 times during his 8-hour session. He won $12 on one trigger, $35 on another, $18 on the third, $22 on the fourth, and $28 on the final one. He collected $140 total from those 5 bonus features while losing $6,800 chasing them. Industry insiders have a term for this pattern. They call it bonus-triggered addiction, and Lightning Link banks are deliberately placed near casino entrances and ATM machines for this exact reason. And if you think Lightning Link's hold and spin feature is manipulative, wait until you hear about machine number 2, which uses something called losses disguised as wins, and it's completely legal. Machine number 2, Buffalo Gold. Buffalo Gold does something even worse than Lightning Link's near-miss manipulation. According to internal casino reports, Buffalo Gold has one of the highest time-on-device metrics in the industry. That's casino terminology for how long players sit in front of a machine losing money, and Buffalo Gold keeps people in their seats longer than almost any other slot on the floor. Patricia discovered this the hard way. She was a 62-year-old retiree who lost $11,400 over 3 months playing Buffalo Gold at her local casino. That money was her emergency medical fund, savings she'd built over 15 years working as a hospital nurse. The devastating part wasn't just the amount she lost, it was that Patricia genuinely thought she was winning for most of those 3 months because the machine paid out constantly. Small amounts, but constantly. A former slot technician explained to me exactly how Buffalo Gold creates this illusion, and once you understand the mechanics, you'll see why this machine is so dangerous. The base game on Buffalo Gold operates with a return to player percentage between 87 and 89% on the penny denomination when you're betting max lines. The machine uses something called stacked wilds, which means the gold buffalo symbols appear in vertical stacks on the reels, creating frequent small wins that typically pay between 2 and 5 times your bet. Here's the specific programming detail that makes this manipulative. The machine is designed to give you an average of 25 to 30 winning spins out of every 100 spins you play. That sounds good until you realize that 80% of those wins pay less than your original bet. You'll bet 40 lines at 88 cents total, the machine will play dramatic sounds and show animations, and you'll win 30 cents. The machine counts this as a win. Your brain registers the sounds and lights as a win, but you just lost 58 cents. Former technicians call this LDW, losses disguised as wins, and Buffalo Gold is programmed to do this more than almost any machine on the casino floor. The free games feature is where Buffalo Gold's manipulation becomes truly insidious. The feature triggers approximately once every 150 to 200 spins based on internal data, and the machine uses a gold Buffalo collection mechanic during free spins that creates intense anticipation. You need to collect 3 or more gold buffalo symbols during the free games round to win anything substantial. But here's what the programming specs reveal. 73% of free game bonuses pay less than 30 times your total bet. A former technician told me he's seen players trigger the free games feature 20 times in a row during extended sessions and walk away down $800, convinced they just had bad luck. Before I reveal what makes Buffalo Gold's algorithm even more sinister, I need to ask something. I interview former casino insiders every week to bring you information like this, information that could save you serious money. If you're finding this valuable, please subscribe to the channel. And tell me in the comments, have you ever hit the free games on Buffalo Gold? What did you actually win? Because what I'm about to tell you about the free games programming will explain why most of those bonus rounds feel disappointing, even when you trigger them. The outcome of your free games round is predetermined the moment you trigger the feature. This is the part that former technicians say most players don't understand. The game has already calculated that you're getting 8 free spins and winning $24 before the first free spin even plays out. The symbols that appear on your screen during those spins, the near misses where you see 2 scatter symbols and almost retrigger, the gold buffalo symbols that appear just after your free spins end, all of that is what insiders call engagement theater. The machine already knows the outcome. The visual presentation is designed to make you believe that one more scatter symbol would have re-triggered the feature, that you were close to a bigger win, that your timing or luck almost connected. Your brain creates false patterns and believes that persistence will eventually break through, but the math is already decided. Patricia would play 6 to 8 hour sessions every week. She told the slot attendant she thought she was doing well because she won so frequently. The machine paid her small amounts constantly, and she'd occasionally hit a free games feature that paid $40 or $60. The casino host kept giving her buffet comps and free show tickets, which made her feel valued, like she was a successful player the casino wanted to reward. What Patricia didn't know was that her player card was tracking everything. When she finally looked at her actual records after her bank sent an overdraft notice, the data showed a 94% loss rate over 3 months. She genuinely didn't understand she was losing because the wins felt so frequent. The machine celebrates a 30-cent win with the same sound effects and animation intensity as a $30 win, and your brain can't distinguish between them in the moment. A former floor manager admitted to me that Buffalo Gold machines are deliberately positioned in areas where people wait for shows or restaurants, because the casino knows players will sit down thinking they'll just play a little while and then lose complete track of time and money. Patricia told me she didn't realize how much she'd actually lost until she saw the bank statement. By then, her emergency medical fund was gone. And speaking of machines that make you lose track of how much you're actually down, machine number 3 has something called multi-level deception. And what these former technicians told me is genuinely disturbing. This is the machine that cost someone their car, literally. Machine number 3, Dragon Link. Dragon Link combines the worst elements of Lightning Link and Buffalo Gold into something that former technicians say is even more financially destructive. Internal casino data shows Dragon Link has an 89% rebuy rate, which means 9 out of 10 players go to the ATM machine in the middle of their session to withdraw more money. Kevin found out why this happens. He was a 33-year-old warehouse manager who lost his car payment, $487 in 40 minutes at a Dragon Link machine. That single session started a spiral where he got behind on his payments, and 3 months later his car was repossessed. It started with Dragon Link's hold and spin feature, but what makes this machine particularly devastating is something most players never notice until it's too late. Dragon Link operates with a base return to player percentage between 86 and 88%, which is even lower than Lightning, a Link. But the real manipulation comes from how the machine displays multiple denominations on the same cabinet. You can see penny, nickel, quarter, and dollar versions all available on one screen. And here's the psychological trap that former technicians say destroys people financially. Players move up in denomination when they're chasing losses. You start at pennies, you're not hitting the bonus. You move to nickels, thinking better bets might trigger the feature faster. Still nothing comes. You jump to quarters, and before you realize what's happening, you're playing the dollar denomination trying to win back what you lost at lower levels. The machine is programmed identically across all denominations. The same trigger rates, the same bonus patterns, the same hold and spin probabilities. Playing $2.50 per spin on the dollar version gives you the exact same mathematical odds as playing 50 cents per spin on the penny version. The hold and spin feature triggers approximately once every 100 to 140 spins according to technician manuals. But the Dragon Ball collection mechanic is designed to deliver mostly disappointing results. You need to collect 15 or more Dragon Balls during the hold and spin round to win anything substantial, but 68% of hold and spin bonuses award only 6 to 9 balls based on programming documentation. When you collect 6 to 9 balls, your typical win is 8 to 15 times your bet. Kevin started his session playing the penny denomination at 50 cents per spin. He triggered hold and spin twice in his first 30 minutes and won $8 once and $12 the second time. He'd invested roughly $75 in those 30 minutes to win $20 total from 2 bonus features. This is where the denomination trap activated. Kevin moved up to the quarter denomination, betting $2.25 per spin. His logic was that if he was going to trigger hold and spin anyway, he might as well win more when it happened. What he didn't calculate was that he was now spending his money 5 times faster with identical odds. He chased another hold and spin trigger, this time at the higher denomination. It took 90 spins to trigger, which cost him over $200, and when the feature finally hit, he collected 7 Dragon Balls and won $18. He just spent $200 to win $18, but his brain was focused on the Dragon Balls and the dramatic sounds and the feeling that he was getting closer to a big collection. He moved up again to the dollar denomination at $2.50 per spin, convinced that a bigger bet would deliver a bigger bonus. The final hold and spin trigger came after 60 spins. He collected 9 Dragon Balls and won $22. He'd spent $150 to win $22, and by this point his car payment money was gone. Kevin told me he sat in his driveway after the repossession happened and cried. The cruelest part of Dragon Link's design is that the multiple denominations visible on the cabinet create an illusion of control, like you're making a strategic decision by choosing your bet level, but the machine's programming doesn't care what denomination you play. A former technician told me they deliberately placed Dragon Link banks near high-traffic walkways because the visible denomination options catch people's attention. The machine makes you feel like you're adjusting your strategy when you're really just accelerating your losses. But here's where it gets even worse. Machine number 4 takes Dragon Link's denomination trap and adds something called mystery progressive manipulation. This machine has something that makes grown adults cry on the casino floor, and former employees say it generates more player complaints than any other machine in the casino. The reason? The FooBot progressive jackpot feature. FooBot, machine number 4, dancing drums. Linda was a 58-year-old nurse who lost $8,200 in one evening playing dancing drums. That money was supposed to be the down payment on a small condo she'd been saving toward for 3 years. She lost it all chasing the FooBat jackpot feature, which she triggered 3 times that night and won a combined $67. Dancing Drums operates with a base return to player percentage between 85 and 87%, one of the lowest RTPs of any major machine in most casinos. The FooBat jackpot feature triggers randomly during play and presents 12 golden coins on your screen. You pick coins one by one, and each reveals a symbol for either the mini, minor, major, or grand jackpot. It looks like a game of skill where your choices matter, but former technicians revealed something that changes everything. The outcome is predetermined before you pick the first coin. The game has already decided you're winning the mini jackpot, which is typically $10 to $25, before the feature even starts. The coins you pick, the symbols that get revealed, the major and grand symbols you see in the coins you didn't pick, all of it is engagement theater. The programming shows you exactly which symbols were in the unpicked coins after the feature ends. And this creates the heartbreak effect that technicians say the machine is specifically designed to produce. You pick 5 coins hoping to match 3 symbols. You reveal 2 mini symbols and 1 minor. The feature ends and awards you $12.50. Then the machine shows you the remaining 7 coins. 3 of them contained grand symbols. If you just picked different coins, you would have won the grand jackpot worth $4,000. Former technicians call it the heartbreak feature because players genuinely believe they almost won, that their choice of which coin to pick was the only thing standing between them and the big jackpot. Linda triggered the FooBat feature 3 times that evening. Each time she won the mini jackpot. Each time the machine showed her that grand symbols were in the coins she didn't pick. She invested $8,200 chasing those 3 bonus triggers and won $67 total. She told the slot attendant she felt scammed. The attendant responded that it was just bad luck, but it wasn't luck at all. It was programming. Dancing Drums machines are positioned in designated Asian gaming sections of casinos with higher denomination minimums, and Linda was playing at $2 per spin a minimum. Now, you might be thinking these 4 machines are bad, but machines 5 and 6 are in a different category entirely. Machine number 5 has been called the retirement account destroyer, and machine 6 is so controversial, it's banned in some jurisdictions. These final 2 represent where the slot industry is heading, and according to every former technician I've spoken to, it's terrifying. Everything we've talked about so far, the near misses, the losses disguised as wins, the predetermined bonuses, Wheel of Fortune 4D combines all of it and adds something genuinely sinister. A former slot technician told me directly that Wheel of Fortune 4D is designed to make you feel like you're winning, even when you're hemorrhaging money. And this machine has the lowest return to player percentage of any major brand name slot in most casinos. Machine number 5, Wheel of Fortune 4D. Robert was a 67-year-old retired postal worker who lost $34,000 over 8 months playing this machine. That was his entire pension rollover that he'd planned to use to supplement his Social Security income. The devastating detail that still haunts him is that he genuinely believed he was ahead for 6 of those 8 months. He thought he was a successful player, someone who understood the machine and was beating it more often than not. Here's how Wheel of Fortune 4D created that illusion so completely that Robert didn't realize what was happening until it was far too late. The base return to player percentage on Wheel of Fortune 4D sits between 84 and 86%, according to former technicians who access the programming data directly. For every $100 you feed into this machine, it's designed to return only $84 to $86 over time. Compare that to the average slot machine in major casinos, which typically operates between 88 and 92% RTP. That 2 to 4% difference means you lose money 15 to 30% faster on Wheel of Fortune 4D than you would on a standard machine. But the RTP is just the beginning of how this machine manipulates players. The 4D designation refers to the sensory effects built into the chair and surrounding console. During bonus rounds and certain wins, the chair vibrates, air blows from vents near your face, and LED lights flash in synchronized patterns around the screen. The marketing describes this as an immersive experience that makes you feel part of the game. The psychological reality is that sensory overload makes it significantly harder to track your actual losses. A former technician explained that the 4D effects are specifically timed to trigger during small wins to make them feel significant. You win $8 on a $3 bet, the chair, Azabi vibrates, wind blows across your face, lights flash in your peripheral vision, and your brain registers this as a major win event. The multisensory stimulation triggers a stronger dopamine release than the same $8 win would produce on a standard machine. Your neurological response is being manipulated by engineering. The wheel spin bonus feature triggers approximately once every 200 to 300 spins, based on internal documentation. The build-up to this feature is deliberately dramatic. Music swells, the screen transitions to show the famous wheel, and there's a pause that creates anticipation before the wheel starts spinning. 76% of wheel spins land on the lowest value sections, awarding between $10 and $40 on typical bet amounts of $2 to $3 per spin. The average cost to trigger this bonus is roughly 250 spins at $2.50 per spin, which equals $625 invested. Your average bonus payout? $22. You spent $625 to win $22. But the sensory experience of the chair vibrating, the wind blowing, and the lights flashing makes that $22 win feel like $200. Robert's experience included something even more insidious that the machine does to confuse your perception of wins and losses. Wheel of Fortune 4D displays a prominent win counter on the screen that shows your total number of wins during your session. After 4 hours of play, Robert's machine showed 87 wins. That sounds impressive until you break down what the machine counts as a win. 64 of those 87 wins paid less than his bet amount. They were losses disguised as wins, but the machine counted them and displayed them as successful outcomes. 18 of the wins were barely above his bet, returning $2.10 on a $2 wager. Only 5 were actual net positive wins, where he gained meaningful money. The programming counts every single pay line that lights up as a win, regardless of whether you lost money overall on that spin. The denomination structure adds another layer of deception. Wheel of Fortune 4D has a minimum bet of $2 to $3 per spin in most casinos. There are no penny or nickel options despite the machine displaying what appears to be a penny slot configuration. The trick is that it shows a 1-cent denomination, but forces you to bet 200 to 300 lines, which multiplies that penny into dollars per spin. Robert thought he was making small bets. He saw the penny denomination on the screen and assumed he was playing conservatively. The reality was that he was betting $2.88 per spin, which at his play speed meant he was wagering roughly $1,700 per hour. His casino player card added another dimension to the manipulation. Robert's casino host would regularly congratulate him on his winning sessions. He received buffet comps every other week and hotel discount offers monthly. This created a strong belief that he was a successful, valued player. What Robert didn't know is that casino hosts receive automatic notifications about high-loss players. There's an internal term for the comps Robert received: reinvestment comps. The casino gives a $50 buffet voucher to someone who's down $5,000 because they know that comp makes the player feel successful and keeps them coming back. A former floor manager told me they would specifically send hosts to Wheel of Fortune 4D players because they knew these people were losing significant amounts, but didn't realize it due to the sensory manipulation and win counter deception. Robert's awakening came after 8 months when he finally sat down with his bank statements. He'd withdrawn $34,000 total from his savings account. He was genuinely shocked. His best estimate before looking at the statements was that he might be down $5,000. When he requested his player card history from the casino, it showed total winnings of $31,200. That seemed to confirm he was close to even. But the card didn't show total amount wagered, which was $65,200. His actual net loss was $34,000. He told me that when he calculated the real number, he felt like he'd been in a fog for 8 months, like he couldn't trust his own perception of reality anymore. The psychological damage extends beyond the financial loss. Robert is back working at age 67 in a part-time retail position because he can't afford to retire anymore. He can't afford the condo he'd planned to buy. But worse than the money is what he's said about his judgment. He doesn't trust himself to make decisions now. He questions everything. Former technicians who serviced Wheel of Fortune 4D machines told me they would see elderly people playing these machines for hours and know exactly what was happening. They knew the person was losing far more than they realized. They knew the sensory effects were distorting perception, and they felt guilty watching it happen. As devastating as Robert's story is, machine number 6 represents something even more disturbing. This isn't just one machine, it's an entire category that's spreading through casinos. Former technicians call these skill-based deception games, and what makes them so dangerous is that players think they have control. They believe their decisions matter. This final machine explains why some industry insiders are calling for regulation, and what you're about to hear will change how you see casino gaming permanently. Every machine we've covered has been deceptive, but machine number 6 is in a category that former technicians told me represents the future of slots, and they're genuinely worried about where this is heading. These machines look like video poker. They have the familiar card interface that many gamblers trust, but they're programmed like slots with predetermined outcomes. Players think they're using strategy and making meaningful decisions. They're not. A former slot technician with 15 years of experience told me this is the most insidious development in slot gaming in 20 years. And once you understand why, you'll see how these machines exploit the very intelligence that players think protects them. Machine number 6. Video poker-style slots, specifically machines like Super Times Pay and similar hybrids. James was a 41-year-old software engineer who lost $19,600 over 6 months playing these machines. The irony of his story is painful. James is a skilled video poker player who understands probability mathematics and optimal strategy. His technical knowledge didn't protect him. It made him more vulnerable. He thought he'd found unbeatable machines, slots where skill and knowledge could create an edge. Here's how Super Times Pay and machines like it exploit smart players in ways that traditional slots never could. These machines display a video poker interface with cards, suits, and familiar poker hands. They look like legitimate video poker games where your decisions about which cards to hold and discard affect the outcome. But they're actually slot machines with random number generators that determine results before any cards appear on screen. The crucial difference that most players never understand is that real video poker operates with fixed probabilities based on a 52-card deck. You can calculate exact odds for every possible hand. These hybrid machines use a random number generator with no connection to actual card probabilities. A former technician revealed something that changes everything about how these games work. The cards you see aren't drawn from a real deck. The poker imagery is pure interface design with no mathematical relationship to actual poker. The skill illusion is programmed into every aspect of the game. The machine displays poker hands like pairs, two-pair, straights, and flushes. It creates an overwhelming belief that you're playing actual video poker with real card probabilities. The manipulation happens when the machine lets you hold and discard cards, just like real video poker. You make your decision about which cards to keep, you press the button to draw new cards, and the replacement cards appear. Here's what former technicians revealed that destroys the entire premise. Your hold and discard choices don't matter at all. The outcome was decided before the cards appeared on screen. If you hold a pair of jacks and discard 3 cards, it might appear that you drew a third jack for 3 of a kind. The reality is that the game already determined you'd win three of a kind before you made any holding decision. The holding and discarding process is pure theater, visual presentation with zero impact on results. The pay-table adds another layer of deception. The machine displays poker hand rankings with payout ratios that look exactly like real video poker. Full house pays 9 to 1, flush pays 6 to 1, straight pays 4 to 1. These numbers seem comparable to legitimate video poker pay-tables that skilled players recognize. The hidden truth is that the pay-table doesn't show hand frequency, which is the critical variable that determines actual return percentage. In real video poker, a royal flush appears approximately once every 40,000 hands with perfect play. That's a known calculable probability. On these hybrid machines, the royal flush is programmed to trigger once every 100,000 hands or more according to former technician data. But players have no way to know this because hand frequencies are completely hidden. The Super Times Pay multiplier feature creates the most elaborate trap. Before each hand is dealt, the machine randomly offers a multiplier: 2x, 3x, 4x, or 5x. Activating this multiplier costs exactly double your base bet. On the surface, this appears to be positive expected value. You're getting a chance at a 5x multiplier for only double the cost. The programming secret that former technicians revealed is devastating. The multiplier offer appears after the game has already determined what hand you're about to receive. If the random number generator knows you're about to be dealt a straight flush, you will never see the 5x multiplier offer. High multipliers are offered before weak hands. Low multipliers or no multiplier offers appear before strong hands. Former technicians have an internal term for this: dynamic multiplier suppression. The game knows what's coming and adjusts the multiplier availability to minimize the casino's payout. James approached these machines as an engineering problem. He created a spreadsheet to track every session, every hand result, every multiplier offer, and every outcome. He noticed what he thought were patterns in when the multiplier offers appeared. He developed a strategy for when to accept multipliers based on his perceived patterns. He felt like he was beating the system, finding inefficiencies in the programming that he could exploit. The reality is that no pattern exists. The random number generator ensures true randomness in a way that prevents any meaningful pattern recognition. The patterns James perceived were a combination of confirmation bias and small sample size effects. His detailed tracking didn't protect him. It gave him false confidence that increased his betting and extended his playing time. The denomination trap specific to these machines makes the financial damage worse. Video poker-style slots typically start at 25 or 50 cents per hand. James's logic was that this was significantly lower than table game video poker, which usually requires $1.25 minimum. What he didn't calculate was playing speed. He played approximately 600 hands per hour on the slot version, compared to 200 hands per hour at the table game. His cost per hour was $300 at 50 cents per hand, 600 hands per hour, versus $250 at $1.25 per hand, 200 hands per hour. The machine was actually more expensive per hour while appearing cheaper per hand. Additionally, these hybrid machines operate at 85 to 87% return compared to real video poker at 98 to 99.5% with optimal play. The almost a strategy trap is where these machines become truly cruel. The interface displays poker hand rankings prominently. Many casinos encourage players to use video poker strategy cards. Casino hosts sometimes recommend that players study optimal video poker strategy to improve their results. This creates an elaborate illusion that skill matters and knowledge creates an edge. Former technicians say watching players study strategy cards for these machines is heartbreaking because the strategy is completely irrelevant. The more you know about actual poker and video poker mathematics, the more confident you feel sitting at these machines. James spent hours studying optimal hold discard strategies for various video poker variants. He analyzed his decisions using video poker training software. He believed he was improving and getting better at reading the game. His 6-month tracking spreadsheet showed winning sessions and losing sessions that he attributed to his decision quality. He genuinely believed he was developing skill. The reality check came when James finally calculated his total loss from bank statements. $19,600 withdrawn over 6 months, an average of $3,266 per month. He'd been analyzing his hold decisions, studying strategy cards, and tracking patterns in a game where none of his decisions mattered at all. His reaction when he told me about this moment was something I won't forget. He said he felt like an idiot, that he's a software engineer who should have known better, that his intelligence had been used against him. These machines exist in a regulatory gray area that makes them even more dangerous. Traditional slots are openly random. Players understand they're gambling on pure chance. These video poker hybrids pretend to be skill-based games while operating as predetermined random outcomes. Current regulations require them to display "for entertainment only" disclaimers in small print, but there's no requirement to explain that the card draws are theatrical or that player decisions don't affect outcomes. Some jurisdictions are beginning to restrict these machines. Nevada requires specific labeling. 2 states have banned certain versions entirely, but the industry pushes back hard because these machines are extremely profitable specifically because they attract educated players who believe they can find an edge. The psychological damage James described goes beyond the financial loss. He questions his professional judgment now. He makes decisions analyzing code and systems for his career, and this experience made him doubt his analytical abilities. Former casino hosts admitted they specifically marketed these machines to engineers, accountants, and analysts, people who think systematically and believe they can find edges through analysis. The machines are deliberately positioned near convention centers and business hotels to target this exact demographic. James's intelligence didn't protect him. The machine's design turned his intelligence into the very thing that kept him playing and losing. So let's review what we've learned from former slot technicians about these 6 machines and what they reveal about the casino industry. Lightning Link uses hold and spin near-miss programming with a return-to-player percentage between 86 and 88%. And that grand jackpot you're chasing triggers once every 8,000 to 10,000 spins, according to internal data. Buffalo Gold disguises losses as wins with stacked wilds that create the illusion you're hitting constantly, but 80% of those wins pay less than your bet. And the free games feature that feels so exciting has predetermined outcomes calculated before the first spin plays. Dragon Link combines an even lower RTP than Lightning Link with a multi-denomination trap that makes you burn through money 5 times faster when you move from pennies to dollars. And 68% of hold and spin bonuses pay minimal amounts even though the feature feels significant. Dancing Drums presents the Foo Bat Jackpot Picker as a choice-based game, but your picks are pure theater, and the machine shows you unpicked grand symbols, specifically to make you feel like you almost won when the outcome was decided before you touched the screen. Wheel of Fortune 4D operates at 84 to 86% RTP, the lowest of any major brand name slot, and uses sensory manipulation through chair vibrations, wind effects, and lights to make small wins feel enormous, while a deceptive win counter makes you think you're succeeding when you're actually losing steadily. Video poker-style slots like Super Times Pay look like skill-based games, but your card-holding decisions are completely meaningless because outcomes are predetermined, and the multiplier offers appear after the game knows what hand is coming to minimize big payouts. Notice what all 6 machines have in common beyond their individual manipulation tactics. They all carry brand name recognition that makes players trust them instinctively. They all feature bonus rounds that feel interactive but operate on predetermined algorithms. They all run return-to-player percentages significantly below industry averages. They all employ psychological manipulation that goes far beyond simple random chance. And they're all positioned deliberately in high-traffic casino areas where players make impulse decisions without thinking carefully about what they're actually playing. Here's what concerns former technicians most about these 6 machines. They represent the direction the entire industry is moving. The trend isn't toward honestly random slots that players understand. It's toward theatrical randomness with false choices, sensory manipulation, and skill illusions. Every new machine former techs installed was more psychologically manipulative than the previous generation. These six machines generate 40 to 60% more revenue per square foot than standard slots. And from the casino's business perspective, they're not illegal, not unethical by industry standards, just optimized for maximum profit. Former floor managers told me directly that they're instructed to maximize time on device and reinvestment rate. Those are the only metrics that matter in modern casino management. The bigger picture that most players never see is that slot placement itself is a calculated science. The worst machines, the ones with the lowest return percentages and highest manipulation factors, are positioned in specific locations throughout the casino floor. Near entrances, they catch impulsive players who think they'll just try one spin. Near ATM machines, they capitalize on chase behavior when players are already in the mindset of accessing more money. Near shows and restaurants, they target people with spare time who think they're playing casually while waiting. Away from table games, they isolate players from the social monitoring that happens when other people can see how much you're losing. A former casino consultant explained that they created heat maps of player traffic patterns and positioned machines accordingly, with the entire goal being interception of players at psychologically vulnerable moments. I'm not telling you to never play slots. That's not realistic, and it's not my place to make that decision for anyone else. But if you do play, avoid these six machines specifically. Set strict loss limits before you start playing, and don't touch your ATM card or credit card mid-session, no matter what. Understand that casino comps are calculated based on your losses, not your playing time. The free buffet and hotel discounts mean you've lost significant money. Check your state gaming commission website because some states publish RTP data for specific machines. Treat slots as an entertainment cost, money you're spending for the experience, not as a potential income opportunity or a way to win money. Remember Marcus, who lost his daughter's textbook money on Lightning Link. Remember Patricia, who lost her emergency medical fund on Buffalo Gold. Remember Kevin, who lost his car to Dragon Link's denomination trap. Remember Linda, who lost her condo down payment to Dancing Drum's false choice feature. Remember Robert, who lost his entire retirement to Wheel of Fortune 4D's sensory manipulation. Remember James, whose intelligence was exploited by video poker-style slots that made him think skill mattered. These aren't isolated cases. Former technicians saw these exact patterns repeat dozens of times every single week. Here's why I make these videos and why I interview former casino employees, slot technicians, and industry insiders. Casinos have access to all of this information. They know the programming, the trigger frequencies, the psychological tactics, and the manipulation strategies. Players don't have that information. There's a massive information asymmetry that casinos depend on to maintain profit margins. Former employees want people to understand what they learned from years inside the industry. These companies don't break rules or violate regulations. They just don't explain how the games actually work. Now you know what insiders know. That information asymmetry just shifted in your favor. If this information was valuable to you, please subscribe to this channel. I interview former casino employees, slot technicians, and industry insiders every week to bring you information that could save you thousands of dollars. My next video covers slot machines that actually have better odds than average. Yes, they exist, and former techs told me exactly which ones to look for. Tell me in the comments, have you played any of these six machines? What was your experience? Which of these six surprised you most? Let's help each other avoid these traps by sharing what we've learned. Remember, casinos aren't in the business of giving away money. These six machines are on casino floors for one reason. They work. They generate profit through carefully designed psychological manipulation. Former technicians told me that newer versions of these machines are already in testing at major manufacturers. The manipulation is getting more sophisticated, not less, as technology improves and designers learn more about human psychology and neuroscience. But now you know what to look for. You understand the tactics. You can recognize the manipulation when you see it. That information is worth thousands of dollars in avoided losses. One former technician told me something I'll never forget. He said he left the industry because he couldn't watch one more retirement account get fed into these machines. He couldn't service one more wheel of Fortune 4D, knowing an elderly person would sit there for 8 hours losing money they couldn't afford while the sensory effects convinced them they were winning. If even one person avoids these 6 machines because of what he shared with me, he told me it was worth speaking out and risking industry relationships. Thank you to all the former casino employees who trusted me with this information. Your willingness to break the silence helps people make informed decisions. Stay informed, play smart if you choose to play at all, and I'll see you in the next video.